Hello, everybody. This is like the first daytime stream we've had in quite some time. So we're going to get on here. We're going to talk some weather. We've got a big severe weather event for tomorrow expected across a good amount of states. And it's a little bit concerning here. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to break that down. I will let you guys know the tropics right now, some good, some bad news. Forecast trends are mostly keeping this next tropical system away from the United States. We still got to watch it just in case some weird stuff happens. But right now, I'm not too worried about that tropical system down in the Caribbean later on at the beginning of next week. Right now, just good news there in terms of the tropics. But we've got a severe weather episode tomorrow, and I will let you guys know if you want to write this down, put this in your calendar, if you rely on me for weather coverage. We will be starting stream tomorrow morning between 6 and 7 a.m. Central Time, and I plan to be on here pretty much all day long tomorrow and into the overnight hours. So tomorrow's stream could probably be around 18 to 20 hours if everything goes the way that I think it's going to go. We're not expecting a severe weather outbreak per se or a tornado outbreak, but it's just going to be a long duration event, and we got about 22 million people under the threat for severe weather tomorrow. So we're going to talk about that, break that down here, get y'all some information on what is happening here. Let me go ahead and pull up the satellite here. There we go. You guys can see a little bit better now there. All right, let's chat. So we've got a big time trough that's moving in here. This is our first major trough coming off the West Pacific that we've seen probably since the spring. I do want to also make something known. Big time East Coast system, or not East Coast system, but Atlantic system over here. This is that upper level low that actually brought back that severe weather and East Coast system last weekend. So that system is moving its way off the coastline there. We've got a big upper level low up here that's deepening, and this has basically got a cold front attached to it here. We're going to see a little bit of some severe weather from Missouri back down into Kansas and Oklahoma through tonight. Very, very isolated severe weather, if anything. Most people won't see much of anything until tomorrow morning. And like I said, we'll be starting stream tomorrow morning around 6 to 7 a.m. Central Time. It's going to be a very early starts for your Saturday tomorrow. So the severe weather threat gets going pretty quickly tomorrow. And then, like I said, a lot of question marks on a lot of things. And we're going to talk about that, break that down, get y'all the information as always. I do want to say hi to my people on YouTube, Justin, Broken Halo, Tornadic, Western Ohio. Good to see you guys as always. Appreciate y'all for supporting the stream over there. For everybody on TikTok, welcome in my weather team. Welcome in all of the lovely viewers. Like I said, we're going to do a live stream now, and we're going to do another late night live stream tonight, and then Mesomat's going to crash in bed, hopefully before 11, and then be up early for you guys tomorrow so we can get stuff out. I will let both of you guys know that are watching on both platforms. There will probably not be a forecast video tomorrow. I'll probably get out a very quick update video in the morning before we go live, and then that'll be that, and we'll start coverage tomorrow if need be. So that is the game plan there. Like I said, upper level low up here into Canada, cold front down here. We're going to see this big old dip in the jet stream that's going to basically correlate with our shortwave trough tomorrow, and therefore we're going to see some severe weather. So I want you guys to understand, and when we talk about these risk zones here, risk zones are dependent on percentages in a 25-mile radius of a given location. Here is tonight's risk zone, so just keep that in mind. You may be in a low-end risk zone, but I want everybody taking it seriously just because of the fact that weird stuff happens. It can happen. So here is tonight's risk zone. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather. Let me actually back this up. There we go. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather tonight. This is going to extend from Kansas City, Missouri, back down into southeast Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Very low end severe weather risk tonight. I'm not expecting any tornadoes with this tonight. Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, Wichita, Overland Park, and Kansas. You guys will have the chance for some isolated damage and wind gusts tonight through about 12 a.m. to about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Models don't really have a lot of storms developing. We'll just kind of have to see how things go through tonight here, but just be mindful. Could see some thunderstorms out there with some wind, some hail, some lightning potentially. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is the big day. We've been hyping up tomorrow for quite some time, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. It looks like dog shit tomorrow. There's going to be a chance for some damaging winds out there. There's going to be a chance for some isolated tornadoes. This setup is not very impressive, and I'm being 100% honest with you guys. I've been watching, keeping things updated here this whole week, watching this system try to get itself together, and there's just a lot of different errors that are going to make tomorrow's event going to be severe for some people. More than likely going to be Arkansas, southern Missouri. We'll talk about why that is here in just a moment. But if you were in this risk zone tomorrow, you need to be aware all the way from basically the Michigan, Indiana, Ohio line all the way down towards the Gulf states. So big risk zone tomorrow. I do think personally, this is just my opinion, I do think when we wake up tomorrow or at some point tomorrow during the stream, we'll have a level 3 enhanced risk for damaging winds probably introduced somewhere in here tomorrow. So something I'm watching very closely for that extra wind threat, and that's just due to confidence. When we get higher risk zone upgrades, it's it's due to confidence. But right now, like I said, it looks to be Arkansas and Missouri will have the higher chance of seeing more of a stronger damaging wind threat if things can get going here. Like I said, instability and our shear is going to be a little bit different to forecast with here. Now, when we look at the risk zones, right, like I said, dark green is marginal, light green is general thunderstorm risk, so we're not expecting anything severe in the light green. But like I said, yellow is that slight risk here, marginal risk in the dark green. I mean, this is a good amount of people. We have over 55, I think, million people, yeah, between the marginal and the slight risk tomorrow. Almost 50 million people in severe weather threat for tomorrow. And like I said, we look at the risk zones. They are based off of a 25-mile point. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys, our kid Haven. As I was saying, though, looking at our risk zones here within a 25-mile radius of a given point, we do have, like I said, a tornado, a wind, and a hail threat. So, like I said, whether you're in the dark green or the light green tomorrow, we need to be taking this seriously. We'll run over time frame. Yeah, that was Richard. He came in. I forgot to lock the door because we have visitors here. So, that was Richard. That was our oldest. We look at the tornado threat tomorrow. Now, you look at this and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a green, I'm in a maroon shaded area. I'm going to see tornadoes. Very low percentages, but it's pretty broad, it's pretty big, so I wouldn't rule out, and I'm going to be very, very honest with you guys. When we look at the tornado percentage tomorrow, I'm in it. I'm literally smack dab in the middle of this, as well as bunches of other people. This 2% goes all the way up from northern Indiana back down to southern Illinois, all the way into the Gulf states here, and then a 5% tornado risk here for pretty much the whole state of Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and not southern Indiana, southern Missouri, and then northern Louisiana. So there could be some changes with this overnight tonight, and I think there will be as we get more model runs. Once again, this is not going to be a big time tornado producer. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. Our low level shear is just not timed enough lined up with instability and moisture. We're going to have a tornado threat, but it's not anything super, super crazy. You look at this and you're like, oh my God, it's a 5, it's a 2. Like, we're going to get tornadoes. These are mostly going to be QLCS tornadoes, meaning we're going to have one big squall line that's going to extend from basically the Ohio River Valley all the way down to the Gulf states here, and that's going to allow for individual areas of rotation embedded within this line of thunderstorms here. So I don't even see really a strong tornado threat existing tomorrow, once again, because the timing of our different features is just going to really limit that. So one, kind of just be mindful, isolated tornado threat tomorrow. If you're in these risk zones, you need to be weather aware that tornadoes are going to be possible. This is going to start tomorrow morning. We'll get to the time frame here in just a minute, but this is going to start tomorrow morning in this area, and then we're going to have an overnight tornado threat here in this area through the overnight hours, and then eventually this will move off to the northeast as we go into Sunday with a lower end risk zone. But I don't see a 10% hatch tornado risk being introduced. I don't see a 10% being introduced. I think we're going to probably see the 5% probably get a little bit smaller when we get a little bit closer with the model runs tonight. But this is definitely not a big tornado producer, and like I said, that's just due to the trough being kind of wacky. Instability is a big wacky thing. A lot of our wind direction change with height is further down towards Louisiana and up towards Arkansas, but once again, the timing of the trough ejection, everything else, just it's not lining up very well. So I don't expect this to be a big time severe weather outbreak, but there's going to be areas that see damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. There's going to be areas that see a couple of isolated brief weak tornadoes. By no means is this going to be a tornado outbreak producer or anything like that. I could see some wind gust over 75. It's very possible. We'll kind of reevaluate things again tonight when we do our second live stream tonight, but I do think, like I said, all modes of severe weather, but damaging winds are going to be the main threat. So not just the tornado threat. We'll have the wind threat at 15 and 5%. If you're in those highlighted areas there, you could see winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, and then we'll have the hail threat as well there. So as I mentioned earlier, I could see a level 3 enhanced risk being introduced somewhere in here for damaging winds, but it's not going to be for strong tornadoes. I would be shocked if we wake up tomorrow to a 10% hatch tornado risk. It's just not going to be supportive for discrete supercells really tomorrow at all, unless we're further down towards Arkansas here. So like I said, something we're going to watch very, very closely here. If we were to get any prefrontal supercells, they would have a higher risk, but our low-level jet, that's what basically allows for our tornado risk to be higher. It's not going to be moving into this environment until after most of our storms have already gone linear. So the timing of the trough is making this system a lot weaker of a severe weather threat than what it would be if our trough was moving in at the same time frame. So everything is not lined up. We have instability and moisture, which is not really an issue. It's just the timing of the trough and that shear coming in kind of as storms are already firing off and pretty much already linear. We're going to have an issue. Now, like I said, QLCS tornadoes, that individual quasi-linear convective scale system that we see that's going to happen, we'll have embedded tornadoes potentially. Storms that start out supercellular before they merge into one big line. Could see an isolated tornado threat with that, but I just don't really see the threat for any violent long track tornadoes or anything like that tomorrow. It's just not going to be favorable for that. Like I said, there's going to be a threat for tornadoes. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a threat for wind and hail. Take it seriously, regardless of what the risk zones, like I say, specifically call for. So if you're in a marginal, take it seriously. Or if you're in a slight risk, take it seriously. I'm in the slight risk. So if it makes everybody feel better, we'll be riding this out together tomorrow. All right, let's talk about what the models are suggesting, because we got a lot of different scenarios for tomorrow. We've got, well, really not a lot of different scenarios. We've got a lot of BS with the scenarios tomorrow. So here's the latest NAM3K model. It's got some showers and some storms moving through the overnight hours tonight across portions of Missouri up here towards southern Iowa. I'm not really expecting anything too crazy with that. And then tomorrow morning, we'll have some clusters of storms potentially working through portions of southwest Missouri. Could see an isolated wind and a hail threat. Something, like I said, we'll have to watch for here very closely. And then eventually by tomorrow morning, it looks to be right around sunrise, between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. We'll already have an ongoing severe weather threat down here in Oklahoma and into southwestern Missouri. So Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, your severe weather threat is going to start mid-morning tomorrow. So we will already be live. Like I said, I plan on going live tomorrow morning around 6, 7 a.m. Central Time to cover this event. We'll be on stream all day covering this. But this is going to start very, very early. It's not going to be like where we have to wait all day for daytime heating. Instability, low-level shear, all of that stuff is already going to be in place for tomorrow. So like I said, it'll be a very, very early start tomorrow for this severe weather event. Wow, y'all are wild. And then this is going to shift eastward here. And then eventually, this is where my main concern is for a higher end wind. If there were to be a tornado threat, it's going to be further to the south here. And this is the area that I think I'm most confident in there being severe weather, and that's southern Missouri and most of Arkansas. Like I said, we're going to have a damaging wind event. We're going to have a squall line moving through. A big question mark on how things are going to unfold up here tomorrow. That's due to instability potentially being an issue, shear being an issue. We're going to have mid-level shear. That's not an issue. It's just that low-level jet. When does that respond? When does that come in with our trough here? So I'm more confident on this area, less confident on this area up here, and that's just due to the lack of instability. And the models have pretty much been signaling that there. We could wake up tomorrow and see a bunch of new models that show more instability. We look at real-time data tomorrow as well. Going into tonight, we'll look at new soundings coming in. So, but this is just kind of the NAM3K's time frame here. And then eventually, once this line of storms gets tomorrow night into the Ohio River Valley, this is around midnight tomorrow night. So we're going to have an overnight wind, hail, and tornado threat potentially. And then into Sunday morning, we're going to have a little wind threat here. Once again, the model's just not doing a great job here. It's either due to lack in instability or about a million other things. So I will let you guys know. Unlike any other severe weather threat we've covered, as we go into fall and winter, there's a little bit more of a margin for error with these risk zones, meaning we get more risk zone busts, we get more potential outbreaks just depending on high shear, low cape days. So tomorrow is what I call a medium shear, high, or not medium shear to low medium cape day, basically meaning the overlap is, we basically need everything to go perfect tomorrow to have a big day for severe weather. If some things mess up, or if we get moisture being an issue or shear being an issue, tomorrow could just basically, thunderstorm itself out and there may not be a lot of severe weather. But I do think we're going to have a pretty decent corridor of severe weather, especially down in Arkansas. If I were chasing tomorrow, it'd be Arkansas, but it would only be for damaging winds at that point. So this is the line of storms coming through on the NAM3K through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. And then eventually by Sunday morning, we got a pretty nasty line of thunderstorms here. So we are going to have to watch for an overnight tornado threat back up here into the Ohio Valley. So for my Ohio Valley peeps, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, you guys need to go to bed tomorrow night with alerts on phones. We'll be live streaming tomorrow night. We'll be keeping you guys safe, but a damaging wind threat looks to be most likely here. And then we'll have that isolated, QLCS tornado threat where we could see some spin, and, we'll have to watch this line that extends from Kentucky all the way down to Mississippi and Alabama. So if you're in Alabama, if you're in Mississippi, go to bed with alerts on phones as well. We have that low-end tornado risk down there. We could see some damaging winds, some low-end tornado, brief spin-up tornadoes, and then we could see some small hail. And then by Sunday morning, this line of thunderstorms is moving through a lot weaker, and then we'll have a very, very low-end severe weather threat for this area on Sunday. So once again, just a lot of different things to look at. And if we look at the instability for tomorrow as well, we'll see that instability already in place through tomorrow, where the biggest corridor of instability looks to be at. Kind of in this area, we have pockets of where there's not going to be cloud cover and there's more sun out tomorrow is where the areas of more energy in the atmosphere are going to be at. So if you wake up tomorrow, it's cloudy outside, it's going to kind of be one of those days where, like, if this happens, if this doesn't happen, tomorrow, may be a big day or not big day for you. It just really depends on what your atmosphere is doing tomorrow morning when you wake up. So the time will tell on that as we go throughout the day tomorrow. I'll look at soundings, observations, and then we, watch the instability die out. Tomorrow, the tornado parameters, I know everybody, I've seen a lot of people posting on social media saying, oh, this is going to be a big old tornado outbreak. No, it's not. Nowhere near that possibility tomorrow. Just things are just it's just not timed out right. But we do have the higher chance of seeing some tornadoes back down here into eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas. This would be the area. If I was chasing storms tomorrow, this would be where I would be at. But I wouldn't be chasing this area because the terrain here is absolutely awful. I would never chase tornadoes in Arkansas. Absolutely not. For anybody that chases tornadoes in Arkansas, mad respect to you. But I will not chase tornadoes in Arkansas. Not a thing. But this is where the higher corridor of tornado potential would be at tomorrow afternoon. And this is going to be between about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and about 6 to 7 p.m. So if you're in this area, this is the main focus. This is where that 5% tornado risk is at tomorrow. Would they go 10%? Probably not. You never know. It's the SBC. So, once again, just kind of something we're going to watch for here. And then eventually, what I really want to see, though, too, is how things play out up here tomorrow night. So once we get past, guys, please stop putting that in the chat. I don't understand why y'all are doing that. But anyways, Jesus, let's all be grown adults today, please. Anyways, though, watching the severe weather threat up here into the overnight hours in the Ohio Valley will be also something that we're going to be a little bit concerned about, and then kind of seeing how our tornado parameters hang on down here into portions of Mississippi and Alabama. So like I said, it'll be morely how models trend tonight and how do they trend tomorrow morning is going to be the big question mark. So we'll take a look at the HER model as well here. We can see our future cast for the HER. Let me pull this up and load this in. Let's see here. All right, the HER model. This is the 18Z, I think. Yes, this is the 18Z from earlier. Yeah, if you guys keep spamming that in the chat, you're gonna get muted. This is not a place for kids to troll. Sorry. Anyways, timing of storms tomorrow on the HER. Same picture here. Morning time convection. Looks to be, we already have a pretty nasty squall line developing out of eastern Oklahoma and southern Arkansas early by this is by around almost 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning, so we're gonna have to watch this very, very closely here, potentially producing some wind, some hail, and then depending on how messy the squall line is, or dependent on how organized it is, will depend on if we get storms. But you can see the HER model going a little bit more messier here with just mostly rain, thunderstorms, and some damaging winds, and then we get a little skinny squall line that moves through. So like I said, I am really not impressed with tomorrow's setup anymore. It's just something, like I said, we're going to have to pay attention to and watch here over the next little bit of time. Taking a look at our low-level jet, this kind of gives us an idea of what the lower levels in the atmosphere are doing here, and we can see there will be a pretty decent low-level jet, but the problem is going to be our 850 millibar winds are going to be pretty much parallel to our 500 millibar, and when you don't have wind direction change with height, this is basically going to allow our wind gusts in the upper levels to be reached all the way down to the surface and pulled down and have basically a damaging wind threat at this point. So like I said, we're going to have to watch very, very closely here as well. So like I said, it was something where, like I said, we're just going to have to watch. So low-level jet here, it doesn't really intensify until the late evening. Now, this is where I would be watching. If we have an organized line of thunderstorms working through or getting ready to come into Kentucky, Illinois, and Indiana, this low-level jet's pretty stout. So if for whatever reason tomorrow overproduces, or we get, a bigger event than expected, this would be an issue in terms of the low-level jet, because this would allow for many individual rotating supercells embedded within that line of thunderstorms if it's more organized. If it's less organized, then we can expect pretty much just straight line winds at that point with a brief isolated tornado or two. So something I'm watching, just kind of something to note here as well. And the instability on the HER actually has uptrended a little bit today. It does have some pretty decent little pockets of where there's not cloud cover tomorrow of instability as far as almost southern Michigan. So this is the area we're going to be watching for tomorrow afternoon into the overnight hours. Like I said, if anything can get going here, there will be the threat for all hazards of severe weather. So like I said, we will have to watch very closely. Tennessee, Kentucky, you'll be mostly into the overnight hours tomorrow night, and then eventually this will weaken as it progresses eastward. Let me take a look at the Rufus. This is kind of a higher end scenario model, kind of gives us a better idea of, what the ceiling for tomorrow's event could be. And I believe this one has prefrontals on it. I'm pretty sure. We'll double check here. Yeah, Rufus is very, very bold tomorrow with kind of like some discrete cells and then non-discrete cells. So It's kind of worst case scenario. Tomorrow afternoon, we have a broken line of thunderstorms moving through. I think this scenario is less likely, but you never know. Stronger convection up to the north end of Missouri, down towards Arkansas, eastern Texas, Louisiana there. This would be a pretty interesting little setup tomorrow if this were to happen. And then eventually, as soon as it runs out of instability, it's going to kind of fall apart, and then we'll have this little skinny squall line ripping through. So big question marks for this area right here into the overnight hours tomorrow night into Sunday morning on what's going to happen. And I will know those answers hopefully morely later on tonight when we get the OOZ model runs in. So lots of things to watch, but like I said, guys, going back to the risk zone here, this is no by means a big-time tornado outbreak. I'm pretty sure every kid that doesn't know anything about meteorology is looking at this risk zone, and they're like, oh my god, I'm in a 5%. Oh my god, I'm in a 2%. We need to be weather aware tomorrow, but we don't need to be freaking out. This isn't going to be a tornado outbreak. I will be shocked if we get any tornado warnings really sporadically tomorrow, just given the messy mode of convection this is going to be. Now, like I said, we could wake up tomorrow. Things can change. We could see things change tonight, but right now, the trends are in a linear line of thunderstorms producing damaging winds, QLCS tornadoes, and some small to medium-sized hail. So if you're in this risk zone tomorrow, whether you're in a marginal or a slight risk, you need to be weather aware, know where to go when you get a tornado warning. I really want my people overnight hours tomorrow from these areas right up in here. Overnight hours. I want people with alerts on phones, know where to go when you get warnings. We are in fall severe weather season officially kicking off here. This is just going to be the first round of storms that we get. Eventually, we'll have more going potentially into next week. And then after that, like I said, we get into November, December, and we actually get some pretty crazy stout tornado outbreaks in those months too. So something I'm watching very, very closely here. Also taking a look at Sunday's risk zone. We have a low end severe weather risk on Sunday for portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the Eastern Ohio Valley. A little marginal risk here for some damaging winds. Some very, very small tornado risk zone on the day 3 outlook, and then we'll have the small hail threat as well, and then the system will be out of here the following day. So do I have questions from anybody? This is going to be a pretty brief update today. I'll be live again later on tonight. We'll do a Tropics update here in just a second. We'll talk about the latest on that, and then we'll wrap things up, and then we'll be back later on tonight. So, like I said, we will be live covering this event tomorrow starting around 6 to 7 a.m. Central Time. If the timing of the storms goes back a little bit, we'll kind of wait, but I do plan on, we'll be live all day tomorrow covering this, so. If you come in spamming those 2 numbers, you will be muted and blocked. I'm sorry, I'm not dealing with kids today in chat. There's no need to be doing that crap. All right, let's see here. How does Alabama look on Sunday? Mostly general thunderstorms. I know the NASCAR race is in Talladega, so I don't know if they're going to get that in or not. It's really just going to depend. We'll have more of a timeline on Sunday tonight. But expect showers and thunderstorms, maybe a low and severe risk, but I'm not too sure on that yet. Pikeville, Kentucky, you'll see storms Sunday morning around sunrise as that line of storms works its way through. This is the tornado risk for tomorrow. 2% and 5% out for a lot of people. We got 50 million people under the risk for tornadoes tomorrow. I probably could block them. I think I can. Let me see if I can filter it out. I forgot I have filters on here, so let me get that fixed real quick. Let's see here. Hello, guys. If you're coming into stream, give me just 1 second. I'll get back to questions. There we go. All right, it should be good. Can I have somebody on my weather team chat type those 2 numbers and see if it works? I'm gonna guess it didn't work. Awesome. Yay, awesome sauces. Okay. You still saw it? It didn't go through the comment section. So if anybody did, it didn't go through the comment section, which is fine. That worked then. Awesome sauces. Heck yeah. Okay. Chicago, Illinois. I don't expect severe weather for you guys tomorrow. Mostly a rainy day. You're south of the warm front, so, or you're north of the warm front. Not too worried about that. Owensboro, Kentucky, overnight storms between 10 p.m. tomorrow night and 3 a.m. Around that time frame. We'll have more of a time frame on that tomorrow. Pacific Northwest storm prediction. I don't see severe weather for the Northwest Pacific at all. You guys have that trough coming in with rain and potentially snow for higher elevations. Make sure you guys do follow if you have not followed yet. We'll be live covering this tomorrow morning all day long. Knoxville, Tennessee, no severe weather for you guys tomorrow. Not expecting anything. So that's some strong gusty winds as the cold front comes through. West Tennessee, depending on where you're at, you're either in a 5% tornado risk or a 2%. And then you'll have that wind threat at 15 and hail. Small hail threat. Southern West Virginia, no severe weather for you guys until Sunday. Very low wind threat for you guys on Sunday, Caitlin. Indianapolis is in a small 2% tornado risk. I do think that this 2% up here could be extended, could be shrunken. It'll depend on what models do tonight. Iowa, no severe weather expected for you guys. If you're not in a dark green or yellow shaded area, you are fine. North Mississippi, you are in a slight risk. Damaging winds up to 70, small hail, and an isolated tornado risk. Yes, like I said, we'll be doing another live stream tonight, so we'll have a lot more information once midnight model runs come in. Also, B, thank you for the gifts, Caitlin, for the gifts. Thank you guys all for the love. I appreciate it. If you are in the state of Arkansas, the risk zone for the whole entire state is the same. 5% tornado risk, wind threat at 15, and hail threat at 15. That is for all of Arkansas. So for anybody that's in Arkansas that's in stream, same risk zone. Tornado threat is very much possible. Damaging winds up to 70, and we'll have the threat for some small hail tomorrow. That applies for the whole entire state of Arkansas. So if that helps. I agree as well with you, Critty. I agree. Durant, Oklahoma, you guys are in a very low-end marginal risk, I believe, here is where we're looking at that for. B, thank you for all the gifts. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hand hearts and the hat and mustache and the perfume. Thank you. Thank you for all the hearts. Make sure you guys do follow my top gifters. Very much appreciated here. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how the wind threat goes tomorrow. That's why I do think the Storm Prediction Center will eventually add a level 3 enhanced risk for damaging winds tomorrow. I see this area right in here being upgraded because basically what's going to happen is as our upper level winds are basically vertical to our lower level winds, there still will be some perpendicular wind flow to allow for that tornado threat, but we're mostly going to have the same wind direction change with height in the same areas of the atmosphere. And so that basically all that gusty wind up in the upper levels is going to get mixed all the way down to the surface, and we're going to get more of a damaging wind event out of this than anything. I think we see more severe thunderstorm warnings tomorrow than tornado warnings. There's also a chance that this whole entire risk zone tomorrow completely falls apart as well. And that could be due to just timing. Like I said, guys, tomorrow is by nowhere means a symmetrical or perfect severe weather setup. It's a decent setup for wind and hail. And, you know, we have the tornado threat, but it's no by means anything crazy. Like, we're going to have wedge tornadoes all over the board. None of that crud. I mean, I think the risk zone that's in place is enough to cover tomorrow. I think tomorrow's storm mode is very messy. If they don't add an enhanced risk tomorrow, I won't be mad. Could go either way, I think, personally. So I'll actually do more of a Tropics update tonight because there's not much of an update other than for my video this morning. We are just watching that area down in the Caribbean going into next week. None of the models know where it's going to go. Nobody knows where it's going to go. The ensembles are all over the board. So I'd rather talk to you guys about that tonight when I know a little bit more information on that. I'll be looking at ensemble runs as they come into this evening. Yeah, absolutely, bro. If models trend bigger tonight, which, you know, it's always possible, we could see an upgrade. It's very possible. Driving back home from Gulf Shores in the morning to Kentucky. What should I be prepared for? Damaging winds, isolated tornado threat. I'm in Western Kentucky as well, guys. I will literally be streaming this event live from my home tomorrow, also in the middle of the tornado risk. So I'm here with you guys. Marion, Illinois. Funny story. I was actually just there last week. Marion, Illinois kind of sits in the weird spots. I've seen some models with discrete cells. I've seen models with discrete and linear. If you're in Marion, Illinois, that Southern Illinois corridor, I know you guys are very nervous. You guys had an EF4 tornado back in May, for crying out loud. Be prepared for tornadoes, wind, and hail if you're in Marion. That's the whole Southern Illinois corridor. Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not worried about. No severe weather for you guys. Shreveport, you are in that slight risk 5% tour. Wind threats at 15 and hail threats at 5. So, yeah, we'll be live on the channel, guys, for a good 12 plus hours tomorrow. We will be starting stream around 6 to 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. So, if you're up that early and you want to come hang out with Mezzo Matt Track Weather, we'll be doing it. So I think really my personal favorable tornado setup tomorrow really looks to be this area right up in here. And that's just due to the overlap with wind shear, instability, and moisture. That can easily change tonight once we get new runs in. But right now, if this would be the kind of the higher quarter I personally think is at right now. So. Just something to watch for. Yeah, like I said, big tornadoes, no. These are going to be very brief, weak tornadoes. Our low-level jet's just not. It's a decent amount of shear tomorrow, but it's a disgusting setup, guys. Like I said, if y'all have watched me for a while, or you've been watching the channel for a while, especially back in the springtime, what's the word? Not my motivation. What's the word I'm trying to think of here? When I'm trying to give y'all information about severe weather and we're getting ready to cover an event, you can see how I word things very carefully in terms of like, severity and stuff like that. If we were looking at like a higher end threat or a chance at a higher end threat, I would be like screeching like, higher end risks and stuff like that, like making it a little bit worse. This is going to be a very, I don't want to say a relaxed event tomorrow. You need to be prepared if you're in any risk zone tomorrow, clearly. But this has the chance tomorrow to either go medium, low in chance to go big. It also has a chance to just completely fall apart. I've seen models just show mostly rain and some wind gusts for some people. I've seen models show tornadoes, wind, and hail. I mean, it's all over the board tomorrow. So it's gonna be very messy. Correct. Yeah, I think we will have the significant wind gusts and some line embedded tornadoes, especially across Arkansas tomorrow. So. By the way, if anybody has personal weather questions, or if I've got anybody that I know that has storm anxiety, send me a message and I'll give a personal forecast for this afternoon. Or I can, message or give anybody information if they need it. So feel free to message me if you need that. Yeah, the embedded tornado threat will be interesting to watch. I haven't really seen... Let's see here. Yeah, the Rufus does some weird stuff for tomorrow. Let me look at our in-pass models and see what they're doing. Yeah, in-pass models are really liking Arkansas, southern Missouri, and then it weakens and falls apart as it moves east. Let's see the RN. Yeah, same thing applies as well here. Just very, very messy. Be very interesting to see the nighttime runs tonight on what happens there. We'll just see what happens. I think it's not. Okay, yeah, I'll get back to everybody once I get off stream here. We won't be on here super, super long today. We'll do another update tonight. So we'll have to watch for some scattered, isolated wind gusts and some small hail out there tonight across Missouri, Western Illinois, Eastern. This will be the area to kind of watch for tonight. Very low and severe weather. I think everybody will be mostly okay tomorrow. Yeah, this is the same system, Stone. Same system. I will just look at the tropics real quick for just a second. Here's the areas that we're watching. I'm not worried about this system. This is going away. We do have a 30% chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 7 days here. The models are all over the place with this system. Some have it going out to here. Some have it kind of going here and then back out to sea. There's a couple outliers that bring this close to Florida, but I think we're going to be okay up here. I don't really see an issue with the United States being a factor right now with this next severe or with this tropical system. The European ensembles don't even really develop it at all, which is an interesting scenario here, but they do develop the slowdown here next week. The GFS ensembles, pull these up. Yeah, the GFS ensembles are also all over the board with this. Some take it as far as Florida, some all the way as far as here. I mean, the margin for error right now until we get this system figured out is ways and ways from getting an idea on. So we'll be watching the system into the weekend, into next week. If anything changes with it, we'll let you guys know. But I think we're gonna be okay. I really do. I'd be more concerned about the severe weather this weekend than the tropics doing some crazy stuff. But yeah, interesting weekend. So. Do I have any last minute questions, guys? We're going to wrap up stream here in just a few minutes. Just wanted to get a quick update to you guys. And like I said, we'll have another live update tonight. And then I'm going to crash down, sleep early, and then, excuse me, get up early for tomorrow. I do appreciate all the follows, by the way. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Aaron was fun to cover. That was a long system to watch for. Very long system to watch for. So. Doesn't seem like y'all got any more questions for me, so... Like I said, we'll probably have our live stream tonight around 9:30-ish, kind of what I'm thinking. It'll definitely be before 10 o'clock, because I gotta go to bed early tonight, so I can be up early tomorrow, or I'll have a headache all day. Ooh. Would be nice to see a big downtrend tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. I think the odds of our storm in the Caribbean next week becoming a hurricane are pretty decent as well. Water temps are ridiculously warm for tropical cyclone formation down there. Well, Arkansas is in a 5% already, so. What is the timing for Memphis? Well, after tomorrow evening. We're probably talking around 8 to midnight tomorrow. So. But. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to let y'all go. Oh, Sydney, that's exciting. Heck freaking yeah. Be safe out there. Yeah, just let me know if you decide to go live or not. I'll pull it up on here. But, alright, y'all. I'm going to get off here. I love y'all. We'll have another update here at around 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish tonight. If anything changes with the risk zones or anything like that, I'll do a video. Other than that, we'll see y'all back in here tonight. Thank you, Weather Team. Thank y'all, Tappers. Thank y'all, Gifters, as always. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for watching as well. I appreciate y'all. Justin, Creaty, Tornadic, good to see y'all as always. And we'll see everybody back in here later on tonight. Be safe, y'all.